Alright, and we're back with the Technics SL-5. So today we are going to get into these plastics. So I'm going to show you how we can undo this sled, get it off here, and then we can start getting access to everything that we want to get to. So 3 screws to remove. We've got one here. We've got this one here. And if we flip it up, we've got a screw there. You can see there's like a little cutout. That's basically just a locating pin, and then that screw there. So we might undo this one first, seeing as it's there. Okay, good, done. Let's get this one. Okay, so obviously be careful. This spring here has some of the wires that go to the tone arm through it. You want to be real careful because they're super fine and it wouldn't take a lot to do a bit of damage to those. That grommet sort of fits in there. We undo this screw here. And probably a good idea just to hang on to that just so that it doesn't drop away. Should be it. Right, so let's just be careful with that now. Okay, that's all loose now. Let's get that screw out if we can. Oops, okay. So that's now all come nice and loose. Now the other thing we can do here, let's just hold that up while we do that. No, it is loose, good. Right, we can set that down there and just leave it. So let me just put this a bit further up. And as you can see here, this actually is a press fit, and if you're careful and push it directly up, you can push that out. So do be careful, because if this plastic here cracks where that sits in, like if you crack that, again you're going to have a bad time with that, because it's going to be very hard to fix that. Okay, so we've got to undo this screw here, and then we can take this rod out and that will just slide off. Okay, that little rubber bit comes out there, and then that will slide very nicely off. So this is now going to be a lot easier to deal with. We can actually get access to this crack and fill it. The instructions for the plastic repair, which I'm actually going to try and use, and I'm going to try and do it as per the instructions. They recommend basically you file, you know, like a fairly deep sort of V groove in there, so that you get a lot of extra surface area for contact. And then we'll fill it, and then because we've got access to it, we can actually file it down and try and make it look nice and pretty. So that will be in the next part, or in the next segment, and we'll do that. Okay, so while we've got this apart, I do believe that we can get this plastic off of here, remove it. We can then get to this crack and repair that more properly. Once we get all of these bits apart, that's when we lose, you know, obviously however it was set up with the servo gain, but that's okay, because, you know we need to deal with all of that now. So that's about it for now, and what I'll do is we'll get this off to the side, and then we'll start, I think, repairing this plastic and just have a look at how that goes. Here we are, this is the plastic repair kit. I used this in a previous try, but I didn't attack these properly, and I think that's why it didn't hold as well as it could have. It does fill in nicely and it seems to bond fairly well to what it could bond to, but just because yeah, you got to go that little bit extra effort. And I think actually maybe I didn't even have these files at the time, so these are nothing particularly fancy. They're just, you know, just cheap files, so they'll do the job. Just want to get it in there and start taking that groove out, relieving a bit of the stress in there, and then we'll start filling it in. So let's get to it. You can see we're getting a nice deep V groove in there. Let's just keep going with that. Okay, you can kind of see that groove there. Took just a slight shave off this bit that I didn't really want to, but that's okay. That'll fill up. So we've got this fairly deep groove along here, fairly deep groove along there, and it's all nice, new, fresh plastic, and it's a bit rough. And I think that might actually be another trick to getting that stuff maybe to bond better, is having a little bit of roughness to it. So I'm actually going to just pause for a second, grab a mask, because this stuff stinks. Okay, I've got the gloves on as well. I think this stuff is potentially a little bit nasty, so you know, we'll take a bit of care with it. So right now that doesn't look very pretty, but I think what we'll do is just leave that to set, and then we might just you know, start grinding it down. I've got sandpaper and all those sorts of things too, so we'll give it some time to set. Okay, here it is. I've had it out in the sun for a little bit just to get it nice and warm, and it's looking pretty good. So I think we might have a crack at just giving that a little bit, clean up the file and see how it goes. But I might switch over to getting the wet and dry out, and we'll try and make this look pretty. All right. Well, I think that's looking pretty good. So, of course, the next bit that we want to look at is how do we get that other bit of plastic out so that we can repair it too, and we'll do pretty much the same job on that. Again, I'll film the disassembly, but I won't film the repair. You've seen this now. It was exciting, wasn't it? So, you know, we don't need to double the excitement. Okay, well, I had music going on in the background, so I won't be able to use what I just did. There's a screw here, there's a screw here, and I think there was a screw there as well. Undo those, and basically that allows this to come apart, and then this will then slide out. And there's your plastic. Now, you don't actually need to desolder this. There's one more screw to the side here, and if we undo that, once again, not everything is in shot. Let's try and move that a little bit. Okay, so the screws in the side there, that will disengage the solenoid. Well, not disengage it, but you know, screws the solenoid to the side. There's a spring here that you want to undo, and then that goes down there, of course. Then you can get the solenoid comes out, and there you go, you've got your plastics. And there we go, that's how you get to that. Alright then, my plastics are now done. So we'll put this in there, we'll epoxy that in. You can see this basically dark line where it's, you know, been exposed to air and dirt and whatever, and that gives you an indication of where that's been sitting for most of its life. So that'll help me position that in there, because if you remember from the previous time that I did this, I actually had it in kind of the wrong spot, and then it wasn't starting and stopping in the correct position. And you know, with these, it doesn't actually take a lot. Only, you know, 1 or 2 millimeters actually seems to make quite a bit of difference to the position of the needle and how much, you know, travel time that it actually takes to make that up. So I'll also measure against what I did for the other one. There is a little bit of adjustment. That rest there, as you can see, it's got the little, if that would focus, yeah, there you go. So little Phillips head screw. There's was or is a spring in there. I think there was a spring there. Anyway, that's supposed to be able to adjust in and out slightly so that you can adjust this rest here. And anyway, that's on the tone arm, so you can see the little bit of wire that's supposed to rest in there. So we'll get to look at all that a bit later.